But then it gradually got transformed into an ordinary religion. And most people didn't even notice. I sure did. I noticed and I fought against it. But I wasn't strong enough to prevail, to do anything. Because these guys already had their names on all the legal papers. There wasn't anything anybody could do, and there still isn't anything that anybody could do. I mean, you go on the Sampradaya Sun and different devotee websites like that, and they're all like, yeah, let's purify ISKCON, let's kick these guys out, yeah. Sure. You and what army? They're not going to do anything. They can't. They don't have any legal standing. Try to understand. A non-profit corporation, just like we have a non-profit corporation, nobody can come in and take over our non-profit corporation. It's not possible unless somebody lets them come in, unless somebody votes them in as board members or something like that. Nobody can come in. Nobody can influence what goes on here. No outsider. So these devotees who have left ISKCON, or even when they were in ISKCON, including myself, we had no influence over the management whatsoever. Other people's names were on all the paperwork, not ours. They were the officers, they were the board members, they were the ones who made the decisions, not us. And it's still like that. The same people are still on the paperwork. And they're not going to give up power, and they're going to pass their power on to the people that they choose, not to anybody else. So ISKCON is lost. It's a goner. It's finished. There's no hope of reviving or renewing or purifying ISKCON. ISKCON is firmly under the control of rascals, and it's going to remain like that. Of course, they're going to drive it into the ground, yeah. They've already done a pretty good job of that. And that's just going to continue. So ISKCON is going to become less and less important, less and less powerful, smaller and smaller, like that. But there is not a thing that we can do about it except walk down the road and start our own. That's why I encourage all my students to start their own preaching mission. Start your own preaching mission. We're not going to take it over. We have no interest in that. Try to understand. We're not like those other guys. That's why we use a different name, esoteric teaching. This is an esoteric school. It's not a religion. We're not into power. We're not into politics. We're not into money. We're not into all that nonsense. We just want to see these ideas get out. So we're going to give people who want to help our mission, our preaching, all the facility, all the help, all the encouragement that we can. And when you establish something and it's going, great, wonderful. And we'll send you a postcard once in a while from India. You know, Haribo. We don't care about all this nonsense politics. I'm already withdrawing, back into chanting mode. I'm starting a movement of my own, towards my next stage of life, So I don't want to be doing this forever. I want to go back into intensive Harinam, So I'm doing a push on preaching now, but it's not going to last forever. I'm not going to be doing this when I'm 90, if I live that long. I'm just doing this to try to get some momentum going for people to start taking up this process seriously. And if you take it up seriously, it means you devote your life to preaching. If you really want to serve Srila Prabhupada, if you really want to serve Krishna, you're going to do some preaching. And the sooner you get around to it, the better. I wish I had started this mission a long time ago, because I was so devastated by my experience in ISKCON and so afraid of repeating the same mistakes because I knew I was conditioned by my bad association. I didn't want to take the chance. So I decided instead I'm going to finish my sadhana before I start preaching. But looking back on it now, I wish I had started 10 or 20 years earlier. Anyway, you have a question?
Back to the nectar. Were there signposts in your life kind of indicating, maybe you weren't looking at the time, but indicating your mood with Krishna?
Like I said, when you get to the point where it's overwhelming, then it'll just become so obvious that you can't miss it. Don't go like looking for clues, like, oh, look, I thought like this, and then that means that. No, you're speculating. Wait until it's so clear, so overwhelmingly powerful that you can't help yourself. Oh, I have to do this internal service. I just have to. Can't stop myself. Huh? Then you know for sure. I mean, how long have you been chanting? Next.
I've been chanting for 2 days.
I chanted for 2 hours once and it didn't do anything.
You mentioned that you didn't develop your personal relationship until after Krishna Darshan. And is that something that you recommend in general?
No. I'm just saying that's what I did. Okay. When you know, you know. When it's obvious, it's obvious.
No,
yeah.
She was from New York.
Yeah, I'm from New York, you know what I mean?
But hold on, let me change the
But
shot.
Babaji, what does do-wah-diddy really mean?
Okay.
I'm afraid that there's a part of me saying, but there's a part of me saying, do you know? But then that means I don't know. But you know what I mean? I mean, it's like...
I want to know, but I don't know.
Because it's like, I'm kind of greedy, and I'm a kind of... I don't want to go too far in case I'm causing offense, but it's hardwired. It's kind of like, it's hardwired into myself, but then I'm kind of thinking, is this me, or is it these senses grabbing me?
Is it real or is it Memorex? No, at your stage, you may know your general mood.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have to become purified before you can even think of trying to develop that mood.
Yeah.
Develop means get into all the details and start your internal service and stuff like that. You're too new. You still have a lot of purification to go through. You have to reach an artha-nivritti. Right? Are you at an artha-nivritti? Okay. So just put that on the back burner, and concentrate on your Vaidhi sadhana until you reach the stage where, like, it's all clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have recent experience of this. Maybe I should talk about.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That I've been chanting like that also, and at the beginning I was desiring like what is my relationship? And then it's so speculative because you're trying to guess. And like that. So I basically stopped that and said, okay, it's just speculation. Let me just focus on the chanting and not think of or try to imagine like that. So once just by doing regular service and like that, or several times has happened now, that I feel a spontaneous mood by looking at a picture or having a spontaneous desire to do some particular activity, like chanting or cooking or whatever. So I think maybe you don't remember because it has been for a while now, but I think it starts like that. You start getting little flashes of spontaneous, like sudden rush to do something or to approach Krishna in certain mood, and then these things increase until I guess it's all day.
That's how it starts. Yeah. And you just gradually develop the certainty. It's spontaneous. See, that's when it just
it pops up.
Yeah, it just pops up. Like I didn't know. I always thought my mind assumed that my principal relationship was going to be with Krishna, or maybe Lord Chaitanya. So I would be chanting, and then all of a sudden Lord Nrsimhadev would pop into my mind. Just boom, spontaneously. And he'd tell a joke or something, and then he'd disappear. You just see the tail go. What was that? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I kept thinking, well, this is going to be about Krishna. This is going to be about Krishna. It's going to be, and then the line would show up.
That's the example of
yeah.
And spontaneous.
Yeah, and so I didn't put two and two together for the longest time. Years. And it wasn't until after, when Krishna appeared to me, when Krishna gave me his darshan, he said, you will